Hi, I'm James Shillinglaw. I'm here aboard the new, completely refurbished Azamara Onward. It's the fourth ship in the Azamara fleet. They just got delivered. It's got all new stuff. We're going to talk about that. I'm here with the president, Carol Cabezas, who is, we've interviewed before on Zoom, and now we're actually live. It's amazing. And we're going to talk about this ship and Azamara as a whole and what the future holds. And you're going to find out about that and more on Insider Travel Report. First of all, Carol, thank you for inviting me to this wonderful event. We talked about it for a while. The last time we saw each other was on Zoom, and it's so much better to be here in person with you. And we're actually here in one of the new venues, the Atlas Bar, which proved to be pretty popular, to be honest with you. It's vying with the living room to be the two top areas of the ship, I think, at night, and they're luckily on the same deck. Now let's talk a little bit about what is different about Azamara Onward from your other three ships, which are really sister ships.
I would say the one clearly very noticeable difference is that we do have this fantastic new venue. And the idea behind that is that we've seen some of the response from our loyalty guests saying we'd like to have some more offerings to the nightlife, to give us something to stay up for and have some fun.
Yeah, a few people were staying up last night, I think.
I think more than a few,
Okay.
Which is fantastic. You know, we're really happy to deliver on the type of feedback that we get from our guests and at any given time really up our game in providing either, a very differentiated food service, in this case, a very differentiated food and beverage service. I think you've seen from the menu, it's quite inventive, and definitely use more of the ship in a smart way to help give people different areas to go to. I think this was a very underutilized space in the past.
I remember it. It was, what was it before?
It was the library.
Okay, yeah.
Which is wonderful, but we do have during the day, if somebody wants to find a quiet nook, we have those. They can go into the living room and have a beautiful, scenery in front of them if they want to, read a book, take a snooze, they can do that. Or in the den, where we now have a much broader library catalog. But we wanted to have this space be more utilized and very engaging and attractive to guests. I think we've accomplished that.
I absolutely have, and you got a very inventive drinks menu too. As we've sort of been working our way down the list, but I started from the bottom in my case because there was one I liked. I have a little more time. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do every single cocktail because I don't think I would get off the ship. But now let's talk about in terms of the numbers. I mean, it's pretty much the same. Guest capacity is now.
It's very similar. It's a little bit smaller, fewer guests than the other ships because this ship does have more suites. It has 64 suites. Okay. And so, it means that we do have some more options for guests when, if they want to come on board and have a suite experience. But in relative terms, it's about the same as the other ships.
So they were 1693 or something like that. I can't remember.
The other ships were roughly 704.
704, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so.
Yeah, and this one's a little bit less,
okay,
but not materially.
Not materially. And I've actually been walking around, and what you've done throughout the ship is totally new carpeting, totally new soft goods, great beds. I got to say that. The bed is fantastic. And as you said, you got a lot more suites, right?
We do. I think the way we look at it is anything that you can kind of touch and feel, every piece of furniture, every carpeting, every wall covering, we've completely redone. And we wanted this to have the Azamara feel, right? And I think the team has done a great job at that, while still giving a little bit of differentiation. Some of the color schemes might be different, the furniture might be a little bit different, but we've done all of it by learning from the other ships. Some of the things some of the selections might have been a little bit different in that they're more comfortable for guests if we heard feedback about certain seating choices. But you always do things with the spirit of learning from previous ships.
Yeah, and you do. I've walked in a couple of the suites that were open, and they are beautiful. And even my room, which is a great stateroom, and it has all new carpeting, all new everything. It really is a nice, very, very comfortable accommodations. Now, what does this do overall in terms for Azamara as a company? What gives you more options to go different places now?
Absolutely. Having Onward means we can have a world cruise, right? Which we haven't been able, we must give certain products to our guests. We needed to have a South America, an Africa experience, and an Australia, New Zealand, Japan experience. So with 3 ships, we were able to deliver on that. But now that we have our 4th ship, we can have a world cruise as well. And so that was
seems to be all the rage now. Everybody wants to do world cruises, right?
Well, think about it. We've been locked away for 2 years. No longer will people say, "Oh, I'll do that next year," or "I'll do that when I retire," or 5 to 10 years from now. They say, "I better do it now because I don't know when I might lose my opportunity again. So let's just carpe diem."
So one of your ships will be at World Cruise, not this year, but maybe next year, right?
It's actually January of 2024 that we begin our World
2 years.
Cruise.
That's great.
Yes, it's not in the grand scheme of things, it'll be here in the blink of an eye.
Sure.
And we are heads down on planning all of the activities that'll be happening during that world cruise. We're going to have special events during that, and it's 155 days. I have to tell you, the team was very nervous about going with something that long. And world cruises are typically somewhere in the 120-day mark. And we said no. This cruise, this world voyage, is all about seeing all the 7 wonders. You have the opportunity to see the 7 wonders. And if it's going to take 155 days, that's what it takes. But we were not going to compromise being able to get all of the experiences that we think people really want to see when they feel like it's a compelling, differentiated type of world voyage.
Now, is this a ship that will do the world cruise?
Yes, Onward will be doing the world cruise. It won't always be doing world cruise. It will just depend on how we're, creating our puzzle of voyage planning. But certainly for this first one, it's Onward.
Now, this ship right now is going into service right after you christen. We're having this interview right before the christening, actually, and so when you see this, the ship will actually be named, which is good. These days, it seems ships take a long time to be named before they're all in service for months, and then suddenly it gets named. I always thought that was bad luck, but that's my thinking. But this one is actually getting named really right after it, and it's getting into service right afterwards. Where is this ship going initially in 22 and then 23?
She will be in Europe to begin with, and we've given her a lot of country intensives to do. So people really love having that kind of focused travel in a given country, and so much of her itineraries are focused on doing country intensives, particularly Greece. Azamara, if somebody wants to do Greece, you got to do it on Azamara. We have the largest number of unique ports visited in the Greek islands of any cruise line in the industry. And that's very intentional because we think that having ships this size that allow us to go into all of these little special nooks and crannies lets us visit very different kinds of places that, our very well-traveled guest hasn't seen. They've seen Mykonos, they've seen Santorini, and they're fantastic places, but they want to see more and different, right? And so how better can you island hop than on a ship like this?
No, absolutely. It's the right size. It's really small. We were just actually not in Greece, but in Italy. We went to Porto Venere yesterday, and you're docked very close in, and you can get right in. And that actually raises a point. You're talking about country intensive. Azamara has been kind of known for some revolutionary new programs that really have made changes, and a lot of your competitors and even not competitors have imitated those. So you've had country intensive. You have As Amazing Evenings. We had an As Amazing Day yesterday. You've had more overnights, more late nights in ports. So are you going to continue this trend? I know right now you're not doing As Amazing Evenings. Probably towards the end of this year you're going to start again, right?
That's right. And I'm glad you brought that up, James, because As Amazing Evenings, what goes into planning them is typically you need to reserve these historic types of venues at least 18 months in advance. During a pandemic, that was not going to happen. And so what we did was focus on a time when we could reliably get confirmation for these kinds of venues, and that will be at beginning the winter cycle. Okay. So in the November-December timeframe, we'll be able to start up our As Amazing Evenings again. In the meantime, And we thought about this a lot. We said, well, I guess we can't do As Amazing Evenings, but we all felt strongly that we still had to deliver on destination. That's what we do. That's who we are. And so we were able to create what we called the destination celebration, where we still engaged very engaging local type of entertainment to come on board. Right. So same wonderful entertainment, and now we're in the setting of our ship, many times with a fantastic destination backdrop, and people have enjoyed it quite a lot. It doesn't take the place of As Amazing Evenings in the long term, but I think we've been able to still demonstrate that Azamara can come through in giving people that culturally immersive experience.
Well, if yesterday was any indication, it was an As Amazing day in Puerto Venere, and we had opera singers and jazz musicians and everything else, and of course food, and it was really very special to be walking around. That's a port I haven't been to in years, and it's such a lovely little town. And then, of course, you can go, as we did, explore the other Cinque Terre towns, went to our wine tasting, things like that, and it was a really special day. A long day, but it was a special day. Let's go back to briefly about the ship itself again. You have a lot of the same dining venues. You have your Discovery's main restaurant, which is you have new menus all the time, and then you have your Italian restaurant, the help me here. Aquilina. I just ate there. I should know. And then you have Prime C Steakhouse, right?
That's right. And I think the team has outdone themselves with the food. Keep in mind, we have a lot of new crew. This is a new ship, so we had to expand and get new crew, but they've been doing a fantastic job delivering on the great food that we're known for, as well as excellent service. When we think about how we still keep things fresh, though, that's why in Atlas Bar we said it's not just a bar with really inventive cocktails. It's a bar where you can also eat really cool different menu items. And so honestly, if somebody wanted to have a dinner here, they could, because you have so many different cool plates to choose from.
No, it is, and it is a great venue. I know people were, should I be in Atlas Bar or should I be in the living room? That was kind of the last night's little conundrum, and sometimes you go both.
It's a great problem to have.
It is a great problem to have, and I after a while I said, I have to be in my bedroom. That's where I have to, it's over. I'm ready to go. Let's talk a little bit about Azamara in terms of, you're now, I think it's a little over a year since you were sold, Royal Caribbean sold you to Sycamore Partners, and you're now on your own. What has changed for Azamara? I know for a while you were still using some of the Royal Caribbean services. I don't know if you're still using them or not. And what are the possibilities now that you're independent?
So the possibilities are endless. We are very much enjoying being able to chart a new course for ourselves and being an independent company in doing that. The great thing is, whatever choices we make are for the benefit of our business model. And that's the whole premise, right? In being able to carve out and be an independent brand. And our investors have been incredibly supportive. They actually are quite involved. We have a tremendous amount of engagement day in, day out with them. But they also recognize that, we know this business. They're just really smart business people who ask many great questions. And from time to time, we might consider something a little bit different given their input. But they really enjoy the product and they like what we do. And so really, there are a number of elements that we've already been able to, break away from Royal. And the one lingering item that is a pretty large one is the technology.
Yeah, I thought your reservation system, things like that, right?
Exactly. Our reservation system, our loyalty system, our website, all kinds of commercial systems, they take time.
And how long do you think before you'll make the complete break?
Definitely within the first quarter of next year. A lot of it will largely be done by the end of the year.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying, well, I still have my loyalty points on Azamara and I could use Royal Caribbean. And I'm like, how did that happen? And they say, because we're still connected, right?
The system is still connected. And so the one thing I do want to make sure, from a loyalty guest perspective, we will honor everything that they have. It doesn't matter what kinds of changes may take place from an ownership standpoint. we will always honor whatever it is that they have on the books with us. And so, that was a question that we got quite a lot early on, but I think by now people have recognized that we're certainly staying on course with our loyalty guests.
Well, sir, you said the possibilities are endless. What do you see the future holding for Azamara now? You actually, one of the best things happened. You got acquired, but then you immediately got this fourth ship, right?
And again, that demonstrates, these are smart guys. And they knew that there would be question marks when, an investment company comes in and buys a brand. And they wanted to immediately put any kinds of questions to rest by saying, we're not changing the product. In fact, we're growing it today, not a year from now.
They made a huge commitment there that we're going to redo. This was a ship formerly part of the Princess fleet, a Pacific Princess, I believe, which is sort of a famous ship. And it was one of the famous R ships, which you have 3 and now 4. And then another line we won't talk about has another 4. So pretty much they're now split across the fleet. But for whatever reason, these ships have proven to be very popular.
They have a very loyal following. And we found the same thing happened when Pursuit switched over to our ownership. There were many loyal guests who wanted to still be able to sail on this ship that they just loved. These were very thoughtfully designed ships, perfectly made for destination immersion, the way we like to do it, right? They're just small enough to fit into all the right ports, not too small that they don't give enough options for dining and entertainment, and not too big that people feel overwhelmed. This is like the Goldilocks, perfect kind of ship. And so you're right. People follow these ships, and we welcome any of the guests who really loved traveling on Pacific Princess to come on board and enjoy the ship now that she's been reimagined a little the Azamara way.
And it really is. You've done an amazing job. In fact, we're still working on it right now, but I think it's all going to be ready for the christening. It looks like it's going to be in really great shape. Particularly, what else? What would you like to see our travel advisors out there? We go 100,000 travel advisors out there, and I know Azamara has traditionally been very supportive of the trade. What can they expect from Azamara in the future?
I think, look, over the past couple of years, we have been steadfast in supporting our travel partners. At no point did we ever have any ideas of changing anything, and in fact, when tough decisions had to be made, we never sacrificed the support for travel partners, and that will continue to be the case. I think over time we'll see that the strategies that we're building have trade at the forefront, and they'll be able to see that in the type of support that we give them, whether it's our call center, our sales team, collateral, creative, anything that they can use to grow their business with Azamara. We're all in with them.
No, that's great. And I know there are a few ships that would be considered competitors that do a little more direct marketing than others, and you've done that, but you really do refer all the business back to the travel advisor, which is great.
It's all about driving calls, right? And we're happy for the calls to go to our travel partners. We just need to educate these, potential travelers about what this brand is. We're not a mainstream brand. This is a brand that needs to be sold, and people need to be educated about it. And so that's where we're so happy that we can count on folks like you and our travel partners to be that amplification of our message to either guests who would have cruised before but aren't familiar with this kind of experience and we know would love it, as well as guests who might not have cruised before but they love immersive land travel, and this would be the ideal way for them to experience land in the future.
No, and it is great, and that destination focus has been an amazing way. And you were talking about country intensives. I don't know how many. These are concepts that nobody really was doing until Azamara started, and now, of course, everybody said that looks pretty good. And so somehow they've crept in. You got more overnights and more things going on, and some destination intensives. But boy, you do so many that are incredible. That I say, well, yeah, that's what I'd like to do. That Greece, that was always very few cruise lines did intensive Greece, and now you're doing it. But we're talking, you're talking about Britain, UK. I'm talking about really areas that you can really focus on, and I think some people just want to do that now.
Mm-hmm. No, and to your point, actually, we do have the most time in port of any cruise line at sea, because we know that people are coming here. Yes, they can enjoy a lovely ship with really, the most warm, friendly, genuine service at sea and fantastic cuisine, but they're coming for the destination. Yeah. We're just allowing them to do it in the most comfortable way. And so we take that very seriously in ensuring that when we design our voyages, we are giving them the most amount of late nights, the most amount of overnights, so that not only do they have more time in port during the day, but when we're able to stay late or overnight, they get to see a whole other side of any given city. Imagine going to New York and never seeing the lights of Times Square or catching a Broadway show.
Which unfortunately some cruise lines do, and they don't wait for overnight, and they don't, or at least don't do late night. I mean, how can you not catch a Broadway show and a great dinner? Anyway, go back to travel advisors a bit. You actually have all the representatives of the major consortia are on board, including two of the presidents and major person from Virtuoso, from Ensemble, from Signature. It really shows that they're here to support you as well.
We're so privileged to have them because, look, everyone's time is in high demand. And it's not easy to catch a flight, hop the Atlantic, and spend a few days, because this is an extended type of inauguration. It's not a 2-night to nowhere. We're spending several days and getting immersed in the Mediterranean, one of the most beautiful places to spend time in.
Ports of Venere is and then you're going to this little pre-cruise here has been, we landed in Monte Carlo, but we were in Marseille, which I've never been to, hardly believe, and then Port of Venere, which I had been, but it was a great way to see it. And I neglected to mention, you also have the president of Astron on board too.
Zane, yes, we were so pleased that he was able to make it. He's been such a great supporter of cruise and, of course, travel in general. But to have that kind of support is really indicative of how our team has been able to make inroads and create awareness with all of these great folks. I would love to just call out that we also have our the head of European operations for CLIA on board as well. Okay. And so we wanted to make sure that anybody who is a decision maker, anybody who has is vested greatly in travel and in cruise, is able to experience this sampler.
Yeah, no, and actually we have a lot of Australian journalists on board. We have a lot of British journalists, not just Americans. So you really are and those are your main markets. So that's been amazing. Now, anything else you want to tell our 100,000 travel advisors about Azamara today and this new ship?
The most important thing I'd want to say is that we are all so appreciative of the support from our travel partners, from the media. James, you've been a wonderful support over the years, and we appreciate the ongoing support. The thing I would call out about where we are today is that we're so pleased to have 100% of our fleet up and running this month. Which I don't think everybody has been able to do, and it's hard, right?
And they're all getting there, but it's been a while.
We're getting there, but we're really pleased to be able to accomplish that this month, and be able to deliver on the highest service levels the brand has ever seen in our history, and that's what's most important. How are we satisfying our guests? And I'm very happy to report we are at the highest levels ever.
That's
so
great. Yeah.
Thank you, loyalty guests. Thank you, travel partners. And thank you, media partners.
Well, thank you for inviting me. And I guess the last question I have, what's your favorite part of this new ship?
Our crew. No question. No question. They are the heart and soul of this vessel and all of our vessels. And it's thanks to when I talk with them, they're so happy. They're so happy to be back. They're happy to see guests that they've been interacting with for years. Every time I take a poll, I got together with all of them a couple days ago. And about half, I asked them to raise a hand if they were returning or if they were new. About half of them were returning. Mm-hmm. And those guys, they've been here for 10 plus years. So I feel so privileged to be able to count on crew that is so invested in this brand, and we're pleased to be able to get them back doing what they love to do.
That's amazing. Well, that's as amazing, I guess, right? Carol, it's been great to be on board with you on this cruise. We've been planning it for a long time. You had it on my calendar a long time ago. I wanted to be here with you live because we did a few Zooms over the pandemic, but it's much better to be here with you live, experiencing this great new ship, Azamara Onward. And again, thanks again.
Thank you.
I'm James Schillinglaw, and this is Insider Travel Report.